Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Movie Battlegrounds. This is the first match of the Summer Invitational Tournament in which 11 players will be playing off for the chance at a Champs token to challenge for the title. My name is Madi. I am hosting for some reason. I don't know why they wanted me to kick off this tournament, but I'm here. Who cares? Doesn't matter. So we're going to go right into it because I don't want to try and screw things up more than I've already done it. So we're going to start by introducing our competitors. And introducing first, I will be there we go. Introducing first is with a record of 0-1, Brian Nussbaum. If I can find Brian on the thing. Brian, how are you, man?
Doing good. Let's see how this goes. See how well I do this time compared to my previous match against Chris, where I got KO'd. I'll see how well I'll do this round. Kevin's a good person. I've been on different dream matches with him. We're in the same league as him, so I'll see how well he does. How well I do.
I mean, you took out most of my intro already, but you did say you had a loss to Chris, and looking to show some improvement. You did have a good match in there. It's just got to get a couple more points in
The
there.
type of question, the type of question didn't really fit me. So
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? Different set of judges, different questions. Who knows what's going to happen? So, how are you feeling coming into this match?
pretty okay. Determined. Anything could happen. Determined. Upsets could happen. So we'll see what happens.
All right, perfect. I'm going to send you to the back, and I'm going to bring out your competitor. Uh, his competitor is actually Jesus Christ, if you guys can tell. I apologize to everyone from the Christian religion. I realize I'm about to get myself canceled. But Kevin Poss, the philosopher, coming in with a record of 1-2, back after a tough knockout loss yourself as well against Noah McCausland. Kevin, you have one win on your belt already. You're trying to get another one in there. How are you going to do it tonight?
Absolutely. I mean, it's like Brian said, or it's like you said in your interview with Brian that on any day anybody can do well. This is why I really like debate. It's more of a um, it's less about necessarily what you know, and it's more about how you can put it into words. Brian is a good guy. The two matches I've lost, Noah literally just got in my head. I did get a point on Joe Fairley, who is the champ right now, or not right now, but he was the champ. Sorry. But yeah, so just pulling a point off Joe in one of those losses made me feel like that was a positive. So yeah, I'm just looking to bounce back, get a victory, and get back to 500.
Perfect. All right. So without any further ado, I'm gonna send actually, yeah, I am gonna send you to the back for a second, as I introduce the rules. So for those of you who are just joining us for the first time, Movie Battlegrounds is a best of five or first to 3 points. Each round of debate is worth 1 point. If one competitor earns the first 3 points in a row, that is a knockout victory. If it is a 2-2 draw at the end of 4 rounds, we go to the tiebreaker blind round. Now, in rounds 1 through 4, competitors are given the questions ahead of time and have had time to prep their answers. First stage of a question is 60 seconds for opening. Second stage is 2 minutes expansion or rebuttal, followed by a third stage, which is just 4 minute open debate discussion, which is probably the most fun, and then the final 60 seconds closing. Then the judges are going to be brought on screen. They'll deliberate and tell us who won that round. Kevin, you are the favorite, so I'll bring you on here as well as Brian, your competitor. As I said, there are judges. I have 3 judges behind the scenes with me who are helping keep me in line as well as doing all the real work here. And they're going to be picking the winners, and obviously, we'll go from there. Kevin, you were the favorite, and you chose to go first on questions 2 and 4. So, Brian, you're going to go first on questions 1 and 3. And starting with question number 1, what is the worst Zach Galifianakis film of the 2010s? Now, I'm not sure why this question is the one that was picked, but you guys both have your answers ready, and we will go to Brian first.
In the trade tens, Zach Galifianakis was in a bunch of films that I could choose from, and the worst of all, I'm going with Hangover Part Two, a common we thread of the first film, and that does that changed up the character of Zach Efron's character from the first one. The first one he was a quirky character, and the second one he was more of a jerkish esque character, and it's like and yep, I'll explain more in the second round. So concede the time.
Perfect. I realized that I was not in the stream, so I couldn't mute myself. Kevin, we're gonna go to you for your answer next.
All right. I'll wait for the time.
Right. As soon as the time switches over, I think you're just we're figuring it out.
No worries. All right. For my answer, I chose 2018's A Wrinkle in Time. This was a second shot for Disney at making this Ava DuVernay directed Madeleine L'Engle's famous novel. Has big names in it: Oprah Winfrey, Reese Witherspoon, Mindy Kaling, Michael Pena, Chris Pine. So a lot of big names in this. It is, like I said, their second try at this one, and it was just a flop. One of the biggest box office bombs of all time, with losses up to $130 million. Mixed reviews from critics, but Zach Galifianakis is in this movie, but only blink and you will miss him. So at least he is in Hangover, and they had gains at the box office, which I'll get into in just a moment.
All right, so that is the end of the opening round. We're gonna go into round number 2. If we can pause the timer real quick somehow, if anyone knows how to do that. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Okay, so we're gonna go back to you, Brian. You got 2 minutes to give the second portion of your argument, and the time will start. Oh, okay, we got it. The time will start when you start talking.
With Hangover Part 2, it's the same type of format as the first film. You saw about Vegas for Bangkok. Like unfunny stuff, like it's like the whole dream sequence esque monastery, and with A Wrinkle in Time, I don't think it's really that bad. He not really that much, and we have him as a full character. He in the color rehash of the first film. It's kind of not good, but I wouldn't say Wrinkle in Time is bad. It just didn't didn't really do well. So yeah. So I'll explain more later on.
All right, that is your time. Kevin, we're gonna go to you, and your 2 minutes. Yeah, we'll start it. Starts when you start talking.
All right. So I disagree with Brian in the change of character. I think Alan was a jerk the whole time in Hangover Part 1. I think, he obviously roofied his friends. He was the one who got the connection with Leslie Chow. And he brings him into the Bangkok story in Part 2. Like I said, though, the $500 million gains at the box office really speak volumes to how much the population enjoyed this movie, or at least wanted this movie, desired this movie. Happy Medium is the name of Zach's character in A Wrinkle in Time. He's in it, like I said, just blink and you'll miss it. But then he just kind of disappears, and they just move on like he wasn't even there. So it's really not focusing on him at all. And with this being the first big movie, the first big budget film by a black director, a black female director, it really had a lot higher expectations, and it just bombed completely. So I'm going to just give up the rest of my time.
All right, so that is the 2-minute rounds done. We're still trying to figure out the clock. Yeah. Chad, you good on this side? You getting it? All right, cool. So we are going to go into the open debate round. Competitors, please remember to be cordial. Not like I really have to remind someone who looks like Jesus to be cordial. But please make sure that you guys are sharing the time load. It's 4 minutes. You guys should have about 2 minutes each if it goes all according to plan. Both these movies are shitboxes. Tell me why.
All right, I'll go ahead and start.
I'll let you start first on this one.
No problem. I mean, this movie, A Wrinkle in Time, it's a movie that is it's building around a 13-year-old. She's trying to adjust at school. She's dealing with bullying, depression. Her father has disappeared, and so it's just she runs into these three fairies, and so they're it's not necessarily meant to focus on happy medium. I will admit that he is just somebody they run into along the way, but it's just the fact that this movie did not make any money. It lost money, and it's their second attempt at trying to make it that makes it so bad.
I mean, like, he's done the film. The question is whether the worst film, not the worst. He's not willing to film that much for your film. Like I would say he's not bad at it, but with Hangover Part 2, he's kind of worse than this worst one. He's like rude to the bride's brother for no reason why. He's like kind of jerk to us to Ed Helms' character. Kind of think of the name. I think Stu it is.
Stu.
Yes, Stu. So and also like still being friends with Chow when after the whole escapade in Vegas. So he's kind of changed his character around. So and with your film doesn't really have that much. So I wouldn't say he's that bad in the film.
Yeah, I mean, you keep saying it's not that bad of a film, but I mean, I'll even quote like Alonso Duralde on The Wrap praised the film's visuals and performances, and he said it was awash in bold colors, bright patterns, and ebullient kids. Director Ava DuVernay's new take on A Wrinkle in Time dazzles its way across time and space, even if it doesn't quite stick the landing. So a lot of these critics are giving the film like a C+ rating. And it's just like right there at the end, it's about a 75% good movie. It just can't quite stick the landing, and I don't think Zach Galifianakis does anything to help that.
I mean, he's there to help them, so he does have something to do with the film.
Yeah, but how?
How by aiding them?
Yeah, but he helps make things funny in Hangover Part 2 by bringing Leslie Chow into the story. And Leslie is the one who really instigates the plot of that story. There would be no plot in Hangover Part 2 if it weren't for Chow.
Chow is buried in the film. He's there like for half a second, half like over 2 minutes, and after back for 5 minutes. So I wouldn't say he's the film. Wouldn't say that.
No, I don't think so. I mean, they find him in the freezer. He jumps out. The monkey is playing with his uncensored penis like that. I mean, I get it. Some people may not think that's funny, but like
that was the old man he was playing with, like the penis. That not Chow.
Okay. Well, either way, the character is way more integrated in Hangover Part 2 than he ever was in A Wrinkle in Time. So, and the main point is, what is the worst film of the 2010s that he's in? And I think A Wrinkle in Time has to gain that, because with Ramin Djawadi as making the music, it had so much potential and it bombed.
And time. So, as I come back to this. So, that is your open debate round. We will now go into your 60-minute closing. So, again, Brian, we go to you first. You're going to have 60 seconds to close. I said 60 minutes before, I think. 60 seconds to close, followed by Kevin, who will have his 60 seconds, and then we will go to the judges to end round 1. So I'll bring up the timer again. And you, Brian, can start whenever you are ready.
When it comes to worst film, for me, worst performance aspect, but for Winkle Time, only there for a quick like cameo as a scene. For Hangover Part 2, he's worst of the films, and that'll be it for me. So Casino's on there.
All right. So you're conceding the rest of your time.
Yep.
Kevin, we go to you. Here's 60 seconds for closing. Again, not 60 minutes. We don't have that much time for this. So 60 seconds whenever you start talking.
Don't worry, I don't have that much to say. All right, so basically, Disney came out with this very highly hoped Ava DuVernay directed $100 million budgeted film based on a classic 1962 novel by Madeleine L'Engle. It is A Wrinkle in Time, and it is a star-studded movie, but it is an astrophysical abstraction, and it is just not her forte. It's dry. The myths and fairy tales are just trumped by the length of the movie. It's a little bit too long, and I think that Zach Galifianakis' character, for what it's worth, just plays very little role in this and doesn't help at all.
And time. All right, competitors, thank you very much. We will send you guys to the back, and I will bring in the judges. So, as I said, I have 3 fantastic judges with me today, Malcolm, Chad, and Chris Diaz. Malcolm, we're going to start with you. Who gets the point and why?
Yeah, this is slightly tough because I don't think I heard enough from either player, but I think this is one of those ones that I'm going to have to give it to Kevin on this because I think I heard a little bit more from him about why A Wrinkle in Time is versus The Hangover Part 2. Not to knock Brian, because I know he brought up some good points, but I think I just heard more from Kevin about why his one was the worst.
Fair enough. So, one judge going to Kevin. Chad, we're going to go in clockwise order, so you are up next. Who gets your point?
Yeah, I'm also going to go with Kevin. I really liked what Brian said about, Zach Galifianakis is kind of like really shitty in this next one, and he was kind of likable, I think, in the first one. I think he said that. But yeah, Kevin, I think really talked a lot more about his movie, especially in his closing, because I was kind of leaning Brian, and then Kevin in his closing was like listing a bunch of facts about, well, not facts, but opinions about why the film itself just didn't work. So I went Kevin.
Perfect. Chris, unfortunately, this time your opinion doesn't matter, but you had Kevin anyway, so it looks like a clean sweep. Thank you, judges. I will bring you back afterwards for round 2. If I can do this. That works. Perfect. There you go. Look at that. I'm producing. All right. So I'm going to bring back in the competitors, and we are going to go on to question number 2. And question number 2 is a viewer submitted question. So if you want to get your question into future Movie Battleground matches, you can email me at, not me actually, you can email Aaron at officialaaronknoll@gmail.com with your name and the question you want to submit. Please make sure your name is in there because he cannot put your question through if your name is not attached. Even if your email is something simple like your first and last name at Gmail, please make sure you have because he doesn't want to give you the question that you have your own match for. That being said, I'm going to go on to what the question is. And the question is submitted by Zachary Shelton. Who is the best animal sidekick in a Disney Renaissance film? So we went with Brian first on the last round. So we're going to go with Kevin first on this round. So Kevin, you are going to have 60 seconds when you start talking.
All right. I chose a character from a beloved 1994 animated feature film, The Lion King. I chose the uptight red-billed hornbill that serves as Mufasa's major domo and royal advisor to the Pride Lands monarchy. Zazu is charged with upholding order within the kingdom of the Pride Lands. Though he is rarely taken seriously due to his diminutive size and fragile temper. Um, Zazu, he has some conflicting histories as to how he became the king's major domo, but I won't get into that right now. I'll get into that in my later on. So I'll concede the rest of this time.
All right, he's conceding the rest of his time. So, Brian, we're going to go to you. 60 seconds for the best animal sidekick in a Disney Renaissance film when you start talking.
Okay, in Disney they had a lot of great sidekicks in the Renaissance. I have chosen Sebastian from Little Mermaid, voiced by the late Samuel E. Wright. He has two of the best songs in the film. A great deal of what makes the Little Mermaid great, as excellent as it is Sebastian's music. I mean, he has two of the best songs in the film, "Kiss the Girl" and "On the Sea," which "On the Sea" nominated for Best Original Song at the Oscars. And I'm going to talk more in the later round.
All right, so nice and easy on that first round there. We are now going to go into the 2-minute round. So, you guys know how this works. Kevin, you are up first. 2 minutes on the clock.
All right, so Zazu is, as I said, the king's major domo. He even says that to Shinzi, one of the hyenas in the movie. I, madam, am the king's major domo. But Zazu is just one of those characters. He, as the king's major domo, he's knowledgeable, he's diplomatic, he's stern with the children. He's very like I said, knowledgeable. Takes that position seriously. Carries himself in a no nonsense, sometimes pompous manner. The Rowan Atkinson voice over is hilarious. Like when he's making the snappy jokes about when he's given the king his morning report. So things like that are what make him, I think, great. He has a considerable amount of anxiety and emotional instability. He's prone to falling into a panic when things go wrong. But due to that, if it weren't for him, Simba, Nala, they would be, even worse trouble. They probably would have died in that situation with in the elephant graveyard. So something definitely could have gone way worse there. Zazu even tried to go and get help when it came time for the big scene to happen where Scar releases Mufasa into the herd. Spoilers. But yeah, so he's just he even though he's nervous and everything, he takes his job seriously. So can't ask for a better sidekick than that. I'll relinquish the rest of my time.
Perfect. Just as a side note, yes, spoiler alert for both of these 20-plus-year-old movies. If you guys have not seen them, you know what? That's on you. They're Disney films. Everyone has kids or was a kid when these came out. You guys are shitting yourselves if you're not watching these movies. All right, Brian, we're gonna go to you next. 2 minutes when you start talking.
Look, Zazu is a good sidekick, but he doesn't get enough screen time. Plus, he really didn't do much in the film. With Sebastian, he's a loyal sidekick. He's loyal to both King Triton and he even risks his own life just to try to help Ariel get her kids with Eric. Also, he always has a dinner at the palace because he's determined to be there for Ariel. And also he's incredibly he's has a let me with Zazu doesn't get enough screen time. He wasn't even there for the big chase sequence. Only Scar was there to help to get Mufasa. Zazu, what did you do after the big climax? Nothing. With Sebastian, he's there for till there to there, and I'm going to explain more in the big debate round.
Okay, so that's still about 40 seconds left on your timer, but whatever. So we're going to go into the open debate round. Gentlemen, you know how this goes. I want no low shots, but let's debate Zazu versus Sebastian. You have 4 minutes, gentlemen. Begins whenever one of you starts talking.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk that wildebeest stampede that was engineered by Scar and the hyenas to kill both of them, essentially.
Actually, with try to kill Mufasa, actually, not Simba. There, frozen.
Okay, can we pause the timer for a second?
Sorry about that. I don't know if I was frozen or not. Or
Anyway,
was
are you good?
Okay.
Yeah, we'll add another like 15 seconds
Yeah.
into the timer, and then you guys can just start again.
Sorry. All right. So I was just saying, in the wildebeest stampede engineered by Scar, it was Zazu who led Mufasa to Simba, and then as he was watching the stampede, he wanted to go back for help, but Scar shoves him into the side of the rock, and he's knocked unconscious, so he's not able to go back for help. So he was trying to go back for help. But besides that, like, I mean, you can go ahead. I don't want to take up.
Yep. Yeah, for me, like, Sebastian's like always there for Ariel, and also like has one of the best lines of the film. Like I always say, humanity, children have got to be free to lead their own lives. They're not the line that kind of wisdom. It's a line that resonates with people and to mer people and humans alike. And for Zazu, moral advisor, not really psychic that much. Talking about psychic, I would consider Timon and Pumbaa more psychic than Zazu.
You just said that Sebastian was loyal to Triton. Wouldn't that be a royal advisor?
Not technically. He was to both of them.
Technically, it's a fucking animal movie. They're talking animals. You can't say technically, man. Anyway, Zazu is he says funny stuff like he talks to Mufasa that Scar would make an excellent throw rug, and he makes funny jokes like that. But Zazu always sticks to the rules, very serious. He's in the movie a lot. He sings with them. I just can't wait to be king, and he ends up landed on by a large animal. And he ends up singing for Scar several funny songs, including "It's a Small World," which, if you've been to Disney World, you know that that's a ride. So references. I mean, it's just like Sebastian didn't do that kind of stuff.
Actually, Sebastian did. He tried to help Ariel.
Which ride did he reference?
Which ride?
Yeah.
How was the ride did he reference for?
I was just asking because I mean, I was just saying Zazu saying "It's a Small World" after all, and
but
I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts.
Had more original music than Zazu did.
I mean, but you said Sebastian did the same, so I just
technically no, because Sebastian was like trying to help Ariel stay in the ocean, not be more focused on the land.
Yeah, well, Zazu helped from being so depressed to circle around and be the king and retake the Pride Land from Scar. So Scar and the hyenas. So,
what does Zazu do after he was captured? Nothing much. Not even there that much. After the whole death of Mufasa.
If I would have picked like Rafiki, you could say he wasn't there that much, but I mean, Zazu was there from the beginning. The only time he's not there is during the Timon and Pumbaa situation when Simba is doing his growing up. But as soon as he returns, who's there? Zazu is there, and he is right there. As soon as Simba ascends to that throne, Zazu's right there beside him with the new king.
Well, on the time right there, top or after. Yeah, there's only 10 seconds left, so what's more to say?
All right, no worries. So we're gonna go to the final closing round here. Uh, so we're gonna start again with Kevin, 60 seconds, for your closing arguments, and then we will go to Brian right after. 60 seconds whenever you start talking, my man.
All right. As King Mufasa's major domo at the beginning and close friend, and he's one of the few who actually calls Mufasa by his name. If you pay attention, Zazu is very serious, sticks to the rules, and he's in the film throughout the opening sequence and all the way to the end. Like I said, so he is throughout the film. Not saying Sebastian isn't. Not saying Sebastian isn't a good sidekick, but Sebastian has limits. He's limited to the water. And Zazu is so devoted, he even hangs on until, like I said, like when Simba comes up and he takes that ascension up Pride Rock with his youngling, his cub, and Nala, and for Rafiki to hold up. Zazu is right there next to him as his major domo. So that's the best sidekick.
All right, perfect. Now, Brian, we go to you. 60 seconds to close out this whole debate. Or
When
this.
it comes, when, when it comes to a sidekick, has to be someone who's there for you, who had the best, who's like the best, who's there for most of the film. That is Sebastian, always there, always there. He was there on both on sea and on land for that sequence, and for Zazu burying not didn't get so much screen time with Sebastian there for the whole entire film. There we go. Short and sweet.
All right, perfect. Thank you, gentlemen. I'm going to send you guys to the back, and I will bring out the judges once again. All right, so quick fact check. Kevin did say that it was a fucking animal movie, and I can confirm that that is correct. I also want to point out that I did not do a fact check for round one when they were talking about who was playing with the monkey penis because I just didn't want to. Not something I need on my search history these days. So, Chad, we're gonna go to you first. Which of these animal sidekicks is the best Disney sidekick?
Well, I'm not going to draw out my choice too much. I went with Kevin. I just wanted to say that I think Brian really showed, like, this is something he really likes is the Disney stuff. Because he was really 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 good in this one. I liked how he brought up the songs and stuff like that, and that he's Sebastian's in the movie a lot. But I really think Kevin sold me. He just talked about, like, how Zazu was there for Mufasa, but he was also there for the kids. He maybe even saved their lives, and that he was there for Mufasa early, and then he's there for Simba later as well. When he becomes king, and he's even got his own songs and stuff like that, and a little bit of jokes, and he even mentioned the voice actor Rowan Atkinson and the comedy he brought to Zazu as well. So I went with Kevin.
All right, so 1 point to Mr. Bean. Chris, we're gonna go to you next. Who got your point and why?
Yeah, I went with Kevin Bell. I think Brian came close in the closing, pulling up that speculated more, but I think Kevin does nail in the debate round, putting out an example where it's saw a moment in the phone. And so talking about how Zazu would, what Zazu vote and why he was. I think Brian has thought a little bit more about Sebastian, maybe you accounted against Zazu more than the fool that Turkey Kevin said you point out.
All right, perfect. Malcolm, your opinion doesn't matter today. Sorry, buddy. But
fine.
with that, that gives Kevin a 2-0 lead going into round 3. So thank you again, judges. I'm going to send you back to the depths where you belong. And I'm going to bring out the competitors for question number 3. And question number 3 is a question that we're bringing up because there's a movie coming out with this guy in it after he was just in a somewhat popular Disney Plus show. Ethan Hawke has that black phone. I don't know what the movie's called. You guys can tell that I'm only here just for for the money, and apparently I'm not even getting paid. So, Ethan Hawke has a film coming out. So with that, we're going to ask the question: what Ethan Hawke film that never got a sequel should get one? So, with this one, we're going to go to Brian first. Brian, again, 60 seconds whenever you start talking.
For me, I went with a film like from the 80s that had Ethan Hawke in it. I went with the film Explorers. Film from the 80s that could get a sequel, that could possibly tackle several years late, all these years later, like wrap into the friends after all their journeys with space, and for and wrap bring back you can bring back those aliens from the first film as well. And yep, I'm going to talk more about it later on.
Perfect. Kept it under 30 seconds. Didn't even need to reset the timer that much. Kevin, we're going to go to you next. Same question. Which Ethan Hawke film should get a sequel that hasn't gotten one?
I went in a pretty different direction with this question. I chose Richard Linklater's Boyhood. Stars Patricia Arquette, Eller Coltrane, Lorelai Linklater, Ethan Hawke. This one is one people know for how it was produced. It is a film about growing up, literally. It's a completed script. Richard Linklater wanted to make a movie showing a kid literally growing up from first grade all the way through 12th grade. And he did that. And I think that a sequel to this, whether it be maybe showing like the last few years of somebody's life, or maybe even just showing like the college years, something like that, like would be a really unique idea. I think Boyhood was very turn of the century and remarkable. So I'll keep going.
Perfect. All right, we're gonna go back to the 2-minute round. So again, Brian, whenever you're ready, 2 minutes to talk about Explorers.
Sure. For Explorers, you could tackle like what happens after, like how these friends stay together, how they part ways, what happened to our characters for the first film. And with Boyhood, I don't think it'll work that well. It's like like a like with most films that were like nominated for Oscars, don't really do, if you do a sequel to it, don't really do well afterwards. So for mine, I would see like all. I'm going to talk more about the next round.
All right. I'm gonna go to Kevin. Your 2 minutes. Whenever you start talking.
Amazingly, again, Brian picks a movie that with a budget of $20 to $25 million that only brought in a box office of less than $10 million. But I won't worry about that right this second. Mine, the box office 57 million on a $4 million budget. But talking about the movie in and of itself, Boyhood, it premiered at Sundance. Obviously, he won the Silver Bear for Best Director. Linklater did. It was nominated for 5 Golden Globes: Best Motion Picture, Drama, Best Director, and Best Supporting Actress for Patricia Arquette. 5 BAFTA awards, 6 Academy Awards, and he won. And it was reviewed film of the 2010s decade on Metacritic, for what that's worth. It rated 100 out of 100, which is, I think, amazing. It's hard to find anybody that can agree on anything. So yeah, I mean, this movie is pretty basic. I mean, but I love how it shows just the reality of what is happening. It starts in 2002, shows the Mason Evans Jr. growing up. Explorers is a group of kids. Yes, it is Ethan Hawke, but it's also got River Phoenix in it, so it would be hard. You'd have to recast him. And then it was cool in the 80s, but it was a cult film, and it didn't have that big of a following, so you would almost have to reestablish the following, because a lot of people I don't think know what Explorers is. I think you would have to maybe do a reboot first, and then you could do a sequel. So I think Boyhood is set up already for a sequel. You could call it Manhood, you could call it something else.
All right. Manhood coming to a theater near you soon. Maybe change the title, actually, now that I think about it. That could get into some other trouble. All right, we're going to go into the open debate round, 4 minutes total. You guys know how this works. You guys have been through this before a couple of times now. So let's just get right into it. 4 minutes, guys.
So, Kev, you said that it was Boss Hall's favorite, but it had to go. It was against Back to the Future. I mean, like one of the biggest films of 19 that year and that month, and also it had to go up against Live Aid as well. So, of course, it wouldn't do well.
Yeah, but he just did Gremlins like 2 years before. Why the decline?
Because the
and Industrial Light and Magic worked on your film. Why is it not? Why only $10 million at the box office? If it's such a good film, you said it's that good. Those were your exact words.
Yeah, because it didn't do well at the box office because of the competition was against.
What was it against?
Back to the Future.
Okay. I guess I'll have to take your word on that. But anyway, your movie is very. It's like I said, it's not rated. It's rated as a cult classic. But I'd like to talk more about Boyhood. Just the reception of it. It's not something like anything anybody had ever seen. Out of 327 professional reviews on Tomato Meter, 97%. It's epic in technical scale, breathlessly intimate in narrative scope. Boyhood is a sprawling investigation of the human condition. And right now, people are fascinated with the human condition. I don't know what it is, and people have probably been like that forever, but with the technology that we have now, people are so fascinated with just watching other humans. People watching is fascinating. And so if you can do it in a short span over on the other side of a screen, then people are gonna flock to it. And Richard Linklater proved it by making Boyhood. And I would love to see like I said, maybe the last 10 years of someone's life. Like, I know that would be very hard to watch, but it would be very complete the circle kind of thing. Or it could be college, maybe somebody starting right after high school and going through all the way to law school or medical school and graduating that. And you see what I'm saying? It could easily flow rather than
know that there's a sequel to it. May not do well. May not do well critically. It's other films that did a sequel to a film that probably won, that got a lot of Oscars and award buzz. Don't really do well afterwards.
Oscars that get buzz don't normally do well afterwards.
No, for sequels, sequel wise.
You don't think if somebody recorded the last 10 years of somebody's life and they knew it was done just like Boyhood, they would flock to the theaters or pay the money on Amazon Prime or whatever? Happen. You think they'd rather watch some bullshit movie from the 80s that barely anybody knows about being remade and recasted and redone, and nobody knows what's going on? Oh, but we're going to space. We haven't seen that happen in years.
Well, people love space movies, so
but we've seen it 25,000 times in the last 10 years.
I mean,
tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong, I guess.
Okay, you got it.
All right, and that's the end of the open debate round. So we're going to go into the final closing arguments, and we are going to Kevin first. Nope, that's wrong. We're going to Brian first. Brian, you have 60 seconds closing whenever you start talking.
When it comes to these two films, people who grew up watching this film would love to see a sequel, like 20+ years later, for usually and for films that really don't really do well. I mean, films that get a lot of the award buzz. Sometimes the sequels don't really do well afterwards, as I said earlier. So yep, that'll be my time.
All right, and Kevin, your 60 seconds will start in whenever you start talking.
I'm going to keep this rather short. According to Canadian philosopher Howard Edelman, boyhood is Huckleberry Finn for the 21st century, for it is only Mason Jr. who retains his honesty, integrity, and sense of decency throughout. A masterful movie not to be missed. And Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu, winner of the Academy Award for Best Director in 2015 and Linklater's fellow nominee, said that when he watched Boyhood, he sent an email to him and thanked him for giving him this incredible gift. If this movie doesn't touch you in a different way, and if you can't understand like what I'm trying to propose as, and your movie would be 40 years later, by the way, not 20 something. But if you can't understand what I'm trying to propose as watching the human condition and understanding the human condition, because it's such a beautiful thing, then you're just missing out. I'm sorry for you. I'm done.
All right, so that will bring an end to round 3. I'm going to send you guys both to the back and bring out our judges. And then I want Malcolm and Chad. I should turn my camera on too. All right, so we're going to go again around the circle. Chris, starting with you, who gets your point and why?
Just for a little bit of match. I kind of had to give it Kevin. He just gave me more of a boyhood. And paint that picture where like to see a sequel happen, despite my own opinion about Boyhood. But yeah, Kevin could have wanted to match going. I think Brian got off it, but Kevin keep going by telling about why his movie were about the more about the reviews and whatever, but maybe like many years later, man has good title.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So Kevin gets the first judge his way. Malcolm, we go to you next. Without the bunny ears, I'm just realizing. Usually you have the Jojo Rabbit poster behind you, and now we're getting like a different angle. I love it. Who gets your point, Malcolm?
Yeah. This is also going to Kevin for me. He managed to like very quickly take down Brian's choice of explorers by saying that barely anyone actually knows about it, and that the box office generally wasn't good for this movie, and all that. And I didn't hear a lot about. There was one point that I was hoping Kevin was going to bring up, but he didn't. I'm not going to say what it is. But yeah, like Brian did bring up a couple of good points, but unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. So Kevin gets this point from me.
Completely fair. That's 2 points to Kevin. So unfortunately, Chad, this time your opinion doesn't matter. But with that said, I'm going to send you guys to the back because, and your winner by way of knockout, Jesus Christ himself, Kevin the Philosopher Poss. Kevin, how are you feeling, man?
It feels pretty damn good. I'm not gonna lie to just get a knockout. Brian did a great job. I felt like I was on my heels at all times, and I felt like I was just one slip away, one word away from losing losing that each battle. But yeah, everything seemed to kind of go my way tonight. I prepped enough, and this is the me that I want to bring to the table. So proud of it.
Hey, listen, you did play a hell of a match. It being 3-0 is, you did, just for the judges, pull out that 1 or 2 words or whatever it was for sure. So, I mean, it's got to feel good. You're back at 500 now. Next up, you will be going into round 2 of this tournament, where you're going to be facing Will Cohen. Now Will is no easy target, but how are you feeling about this upcoming matchup?
It's gonna be tough. Will's a cool guy, so we'll see how it goes. I know I'll definitely have to be on my A game, so just have to make sure I have my prep done and maybe bounce some questions off some people. But yeah, I'll definitely be. Will better watch his back.
There you go. I like the little bit of trash talk after like 50 minutes of this. Just finally getting
I know, being nice.
But yeah, man, good job. Congratulations on the win. Really well played. And congratulations again. So I'm going to send you to the back, and I'm going to interview the unfortunate loser of this match, Brian. Brian, unfortunate loss today against Kevin. You know, came very close on a couple of them, especially that Disney one. I thought
I was going to get that one. Like, probably judges picked a different way.
Right. Yeah. I mean, again, like I said at the top of the match, it's always like, depending on how the judges understand the question and your answers and everything like that. Like that's the thing about debate. It can go really either way. It's just, one thing is going to sway them one way or another. So you are 0-2. So right now, your next match won't come until probably the fall.
I'll probably take a little break for now, like for debate, like see how I'm going to be doing that. So take a little break for debating.
Sure thing, man. I was gonna ask if there was anyone in your mind that you wanted to face off against, just in general, but
take a little break. Take a break will be good for me to do.
For sure, man, for sure. But you did still play a hell of a match, and again, really good job. Hell of a show, and I'm sure everyone on back at home will agree. But yeah, I'll again, great job. Thanks for coming out. I'm going to send you to the back, and I'm going to try and wrap this up without screwing anything up too much more. We do have a couple of other big matches coming up, including one following this match, which is a bonus upload featuring Amaru Moses and Ryan Permison. A bit of a rematch from something that they may have been involved in a few months back that I may or may not have been judging, but we'll see if any old blood comes to light. Tune in tomorrow night to check out the title match between Henry Sanchez and the host Aaron Knoll, who could not be here tonight. I'm sure that one's going to be a hell of a show, especially because it is a title match. Final thing, just a general thank you to all the judges and competitors and everyone behind the scenes. Thank you to Aaron for showing me how hard his job actually is, because this is fucking ridiculous. And thank you for everyone who is watching. I would also like to say, please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Comment underneath what you thought of the match. If they made a mistake on any of the questions and what they answered were, put down what you would put down. And hey, who knows? Send your questions into Aaron and see if you guys can get into a debate. And yeah, you'll see whenever the new matches are coming up. Hit the bell icon. I'm not really good at this. This is my first time actually talking about this sort of thing. But you guys, you've heard the spiel before. Just do the things you guys know you need to do. That'll be it from me. Thank you again to Kevin, Chris, Chad, Malcolm, Brian, everyone who is involved in today. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time on the Battlegrounds. Take care.